And let's start our conversation about optimizing your product listings to drive sales. So, we've got two fantastic experts with us today who are going to share their insights based on their own professional experience. First, we have Alexis Margaritis. Alexis is an experienced e commerce strategist with a strong track record of creating and executing high impact campaigns across digital and traditional channels. Before joining FedEx, Alexis worked in the retail fashion e commerce space, managing digital marketing efforts and growing online sales. As part of the industry unique digital commerce solutions consulting offering by FedEx for their customers, Alexis is an energetic contributor supporting customers' growth. By leveraging her social media and e commerce content strategy expertise, Alexis provides FedEx customers cutting edge insights to enhance their online presence. Alexis is passionate about bridging the gap between brand storytelling and performance marketing and regularly consults on buyers' journeys, optimization, improving conversion rate, and driving traffic. It is so great to have you here, Alexis.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Wonderful. We are so pumped to have you and hear all the expertise you have for us. And next we have Terrand Smith, a consummate retail professional. Terrand Smith oversaw close to 1 billion in revenue, billion y'all. Okay, during her 15-year long career in corporate retail, working at the headquarters of some of the top retailers in the US. She managed, grew, and restored categories with thousands of products and hundreds of vendor partners in over 15,000 retail outlets. Her strengths were in optimizing product assortments, establishing pricing strategies, developing impactful promotions, improving inefficiencies, negotiating with vendors, developing innovations, and managing profit and loss statements. These strengths allowed her to drive significant growth in sales, market share, profitability, and new business models for her companies. Smith is now the founder and CEO of 37 Oaks, a Chicago based education company that educates and prepares small businesses for growth through e commerce, wholesale, storefront, and pop up markets. Strengthening and revitalizing communities through commerce is not only her mission, but also her responsibility. She is also the author of Prepare to Shift, the workbook, which outlines a proven roadmap to shift a hobby into a growing business. It's great to have you here, Tarand.
Thank you so much and good afternoon. And always a pleasure to connect with AOF and FedEx. So I'm looking forward to today.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. And one more thing about Taran, she has a great community full of free resources. We're going to drop that in the chat just to make sure y'all have that. But Taran, I want to start with you. So with such a strong background in retail and also working with so many e-commerce businesses, what are the must-have elements of a strong product listing that businesses often overlook?
Well, this is an excellent question to start off with because when we're thinking about product listings, this is basically our digital salesperson, right? This is going to be representing our brand, our products to customers that either kind of know us or ones that don't. So we have to take this whole process of creating it very seriously. So there's a few things just to consider with it. And there's a lot, but we'll just target the top one. So the first thing is going to be your title, right? So whether you're on a marketplace, let's say like Amazon or Etsy, or even you have your own direct to consumer site like a Wix or Shopify or WooCommerce or something, that title is going to be really important because it's not only letting people know what's behind the title, like what type of products you have, but it's also included in like your SEO, right? So if you are, someone searching a certain category or a certain problem that they need to be solved, they're going to put in certain words. So you kind of want to consider that when you're developing this title for your product. Another thing is just going to be high quality images. And I'm sure we're going to dive into this, but this is going to be critical because when you are, especially on a marketplace, you really have one image that's really there, that leading image that's going to entice people to say, do I want to click on this to learn more? Do I want to click on it to experience this brand digitally, like a little bit more? So that leading image is going to be key. And even if you have your own direct to consumer site, that's also going to be critical because our job is to drive them to that buy button. Right? So they got to get through a few layers, and that'll be one of them. The third one I want to say is just around persuasive descriptions, and I can talk a long time about this one, but I'll keep it short. This is so important because in the digital world, we don't have the opportunity to connect with the customers all five senses as we do like at a pop-up event or in wholesale. And why is that important? Well, those five senses pretty much tell the brain, hey, I want you to do this, or I don't want you to do this, or I like this, or this is nostalgic, or this is reminding me of my grandmother's kitchen or cooking. And that lets us know if we want to buy something. So digitally, we want to really use those product descriptions to paint that story and that description, not just of the product, but help them experience the brand and what the product is going to be. And then last but not least is social proof. That's the fourth one. So that's going to be important because sometimes customers, they don't really know us, right? So we could use this information, testimonials. It could be any type of photos or thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever it is that you can collect from customers to help them really understand that I'm credible and you want to buy my product and I can deliver what I said I could.
Yes, that is such a great overview of all the different pieces so that you're kind of really efficiently putting your time towards what you need to do. Thank you so much, Terrand. Okay, Alexis, my next question's for you. From the FedEx side, what role does shipping and fulfillment information play in creating trust at the product listing stage?
Yeah, this is a great question. During that product listing stage, shipping and fulfillment details play a huge role in building that trust and credibility, right? So shoppers actively look for more information. It's really essential that it's easy to find and clearly presented. There really are four key elements customers expect to see. First things first is clear shipping information, including estimated delivery dates or even a delivery date calculator right on the product page, not just at checkout. Shoppers expect to know when their order will arrive, sometimes even what time their order will arrive. If you are a FedEx shipper, ask your sales rep for more information on transit calculators to help with implementation on this. Let's take a look at this example on the screen that shows the add to cart button from good, better, and best. We always want to link the shipping and return policies directly from the product page. This acts as a trust building safety net for shoppers, which can start at the best, good, you can see here, and it really improves that user experience. We also want to look at inventory transparency. A sense of urgency really drives conversions. That way, inventory transparency has become really, important post-pandemic. Customers want reassurance that items are truly available. This really helps them know I'm going to get this in time for the holiday season, right? You can even include a notify me option for sold out products. As you can see on the screen here, the best example, they have that green light in the top right that is in stock alerts. They have this right above the add to cart button. This assures customers before purchasing they can get their order. Third thing we want to look at here is carrier trust signals. Displaying carrier logos such as FedEx help reinforce confidence. Recognizable brands really communicate speed, reliability, and professionalism. This enhances your overall value proposition. Fourth thing we want to look at is your value proposition, leveraging this for customers, right? Shipping is part of that. Reinforce your shipping strengths through iconography, call outs. For example, here, ships next day or same day delivery available. These small visuals really communicate value and help differentiate your brand. That's really four things you can do to create trust immediately.
Yes, I love this. This is such a great example of like as a shopper, you're like, okay, I know
Yeah.
I'm getting it. I know when it's coming. Like I feel good. Thank you so much, Alexis. Okay, my next question is uh for Alexis as well. So, for newer businesses, what's the simplest way to make a listing stand out in that crowded marketplace?
Awesome. Yeah, this is one of my favorite questions we're going to talk about today. So, we really want our product listings stand out to feel challenging at first, right? We want to look at what we can do to captivate our audience with a strong hook and a really clear value. Let's take a look at Cacao and Cardamom's product page. You'll notice they have incorporated four key elements here. The optimized for conversions, they've got quality, not quantity, right? They've communicated the competitive advantage and leveraged keywords for search engine optimization. So this product page is really dynamic, and the way that they've optimized for conversion is they've started with their product description. So they led with the most important information. They began with an action word that clearly grabs the attention of the customer. We really clearly explain why the customer needs this product, right? What makes it unique? Why should I buy from you? Ensure that add to cart button is there and easy to find, especially on mobile devices. A big call out here is for customers to check how much of your traffic is coming to your website from mobile users, right? So we, instead of want to focus on desktop, maybe focus on mobile if 80 to 90% of your traffic is coming from those mobile users, right? One of the things Cacao and Cardamom has done is really utilized heat mapping. This is a huge trend right now, and you can see where customers are hanging out on the page or where they're clicking with no results, which results in rage clicking. Utilizing something like Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity for heat maps, that's a free resource. It's great to use. You can really understand consumer behavior and where they're shopping on your website. Keep all of the information above the fold, right? That fold is the add to cart button in the page. We want to include a really clear call to action that guides shoppers towards purchasing. Use high quality images, just like Terrand said. I love that. Brand colors, right? I know that no matter what page I'm going to on Cacao and Cardamom, that it is brand cohesive, and I can know that those colors call out their brand to me. As you can see here, they even include social proof and badges on these images, right? So you can see all the amazing press they've been featured. We've look at that and see that's part of their value proposition. For my clothing, retail, apparel business owners, consider adding interactive elements here, such as that virtual try-on, augmented reality, and don't forget to include sizing charts and real life product photos to build trust with those customers. You can even build in product measurements on the images themselves in the carousel. Use a free resource like Canva, right? You can add in the images there and the specs on the image. It's super helpful for the customer. Second thing I love about this product page is the quality and not the quantity. They're not overwhelming us as a consumer. These drop-down menus, I can look and find the information if I need it, but I'm not overwhelmed at first with it, right? Instead of trying to sell everywhere, concentrate on your best performing products and platforms. Build out really detailed, engaging pages for your top 3 to 5 products. Use dynamic, rich keywords for that, really great search engine optimization. Looking for keyword help, utilize tools such as Google Keyword Planner. SEMrush is a great tool as well. And then also we want to have eye-catching photos. So just as Terrand said, those images are so important to show your brand personality. At the bottom of the image, they also show that value proposition again, so we're constantly reminded throughout the page. Third thing we want to look at here is the competitive advantage. Your listing needs to make it first really clear, why is your product better, right? Use icons, visual highlights to communicate your product quality and unique selling points. Tell your specific brand story, not what you think customers want to hear, what your specific story is, right? And build it in an approachable way. Anticipate their questions and make sure your content answers them all. So Cacao and Cardamom has anticipated a couple of questions here, right? Like shipping, policies, is it going to melt? What's going to happen here? And you can see all of these answers here. Even consider adding an FAQ on your product page. That's a great thing to do, build trust. Last thing we'll talk about here is social proof. Customer testimonials are one of the strongest ways to stand out. Cacao or Cardamom has even added social media interactive bubbles to their page. Add reviews to every product page you can. And if you're overwhelmed by that, just start with your best sellers, right? Ask your friends and families and, relevant customers to say, hey, can you reply to some of these, best sellers? And make sure to respond to both positive and negative feedback. This shows authenticity and really builds credibility that, hey, if it's a negative review, we made it positive, right? We turned it around. That's the heart of our business. To integrate reviews, you might be asking, what tools can I use? Yotpo is great. Judge Me. There's so many that are free. So don't be shocked when you look and say, hey, how am I going to do this? It seems really hard. You can even use Google reviews, right? There's so many tools and resources out there that you can use. So really want to make your product listing rise above the competition. Start with a bold hook and a clear value statement that instantly shows customers why they need what you're offering.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And I love that you gave the suggestion of just starting with your best sellers, like
Yep.
you can start small and then kind of follow the data and do all those big things. That's so helpful.
Chris,
Um,
mind if I add something to that,
Please,
especially from
yes.
a marketplace perspective. So I totally echo and piggyback off of everything Alexis mentioned. I love the fact, that she talked about defining your unique value. So if you happen to be on a marketplace such as a Walmart.com or Amazon or Etsy, there's just a few more things I would just add to that. One is, the unique value part is huge because if you think about like how many products, let's just take Amazon, for example, they have 600 million products on Amazon, right? That's not a little bit. So one of the values and reasons why people shop on a marketplace is because they can look at many products and many categories. They can compare and contrast and find out what they want. But from a business owner's perspective, it's like I could be right next to my competitor. So I love that value proposition that Alexis led with. But in addition to that, a few other things to consider, especially if you're on a marketplace, is really understanding like that platform and their algorithms and how they work, right? Because if you have 600 million products, you're trying to get up there on that list when people are searching for these different categories. So understanding like the algorithms, the SEO, how does that play a part into it? And also like the promotions, right? So on Amazon, for example, we think of Amazon.com, but there's a lot of other ways that you can promote your products on Amazon.com. You could do it through Kindle, you could do it through Fire Stick, Alexa. There's other ways. So I would just kind of throw that in there, especially if you're on a crowded marketplace for this holiday season. Let's understand the algorithms for those particular platforms so that they can help you rise to the top in this crowded marketplace.
Love that.
Yes, that is super helpful in thinking about not only what we're putting on it, but where it's going and what are their rules? What are they doing? Amazing. Okay, next question, Terrand, is for you. So for businesses that are maybe a bit further along, what advanced strategies help them optimize their product listings to compete and grow?
Yeah, that's a good question because I kind of look at it as in two parts. Like the first part is about creating the listing. A lot of the foundational things that we're mentioning here, like, get the images up and the SEO and kind of like the foundational parts of it. But once you get that up, you start to transition, especially after like testing and learning and prototyping. I think Alexis mentioned a few things like test this and see what the feedback is and adjust a few things. But then you start to get into managing that listing, right? So first we want to put it up there, but now we want to manage it. We want to manage it to profitability, right? So if, for example, on our home pages or elsewhere, it's like, can we lead with this certain product or lead with this certain item because it's more profitable, for example? Is there a certain data that we can collect to say, maybe this product isn't the best product to put on my site because it's not profitable or it's not driving sales. Maybe I want to replace it with something else. Does it make sense for me to add upselling type of features so that when people are buying this product, they see that there's a related product or similar products that people bought. So it's more about taking it from a product listing to like this revenue generating machine that you could look at. But once you get the data, you can start to optimize it and look at those details. But first you got to get it up there and start to collect the data. So it's kind of like this shift that I think all of us do. So don't feel like you have to get all this data at first, just start to put up your site, test and learn, and then make that transition.
That's an excellent point about gathering some of the data and then kind of iterating off of that so that, again, not all at once. I feel like this is
Exactly.
very, very attainable for whoever is doing it. Tarand, my next question is for you as well. How can businesses use product listings to make more money? In plain terms, how do you make listings work smarter for that sales and profit?
Yes, and I think kind of similar to what I mentioned a little bit before, but as business owners, we definitely want to work smarter, not harder, because we're juggling like 8 million things, it feels like as it is. But a few things just to mention is that, we talked about the profitability side. So we learn a lot from our businesses once they're out there and our products are out there and our listings are there, what's working, what's not. So always trying to adjust it with this lens that we're growing a business, right? So it's not just sales, it's about profits. But also, we talk a lot about the sales funnel quite a bit, at 37 Oaks University and a lot of our classes. And, our jobs as business owners are to drive the customer down the funnel. So they become aware of us, they then consider us, they then buy from us. And then there's retention. And sometimes when we're developing those product pages, we may not really think about retention as much because we're like, buy, buy, buy. But that's a part of the funnel, right? So sometimes in order to help our product listing pages do more for us, let's consider the fact like, hey, sign up for our email list somewhere, or did you know we have a community, or, like just kind of it's a transaction. We want that transaction at the moment, but we also want that long-term value from the customer. So are there ways to kind of include that? And it may not be prevalent, but it is good to kind of put that in there so that that product listing could kind of help us build that community and build that long-term customer. So in addition to the profitability and the data that I mentioned, it's also adding that little element that helps us retain that customer after they purchase.
Yes, that's a great point. I know that that is a huge part, like not just getting the sale, but then because what is like the easiest customer to get is the one you already have or something like that.
I'm in the loop.
And
Yes.
something to add there, Taran, too, I love where you're talking about analytics, right? So even if you don't have a lot of customers right now to track, go ahead and utilize the analytics you have so you have a starting point, right? Make a Google Analytics account, make a GA4 account, and then also use whatever platform you're on. So if it's Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, or a custom built site, use multiple different, avenues to track those analytics so you have a starting point. One of my favorite things to do is start with a customer and then 4 months from now say, hey, where are you? Did you complete that list of things? Did you, add in that email list? Did it do anything to your conversion rate? Did it do anything to the average order value? So think about using different avenues to enroll in analytics, and don't be scared. I only have 5 people coming to my website a day. Well, in 4 months from now, you could have 1,000, right? You still need that starting point.
Yes, excellent point. Excellent point. Um, okay, Alexis, my next question is for you. Let's talk about logistics. So, what logistics or operational signals should businesses highlight in their listings to show customers they're ready to scale?
I love it. This is a great one, right? There are so many logistics and operational details that businesses should emphasize, especially when it comes to fulfillment, large orders, and then building trust with both individual customers, but also if you're going to move into B2B, right? Let's dive into 5 here. I love this product page we'll put up now. This is Hello Adorn. They are doing a great job with this. First thing I want to focus in that they are doing is starting with that clear messaging, right? As you can see here, they're using this direct language, ready to ship, simple returns. It's so easy, but it communicates to me that I'm ready to buy. A couple of other keywords and phrases that you can put on your product page is we offer order tracking with FedEx as our preferred carrier, discount on orders of 5 or more, buy 4, get the 5th free, or get it by X date if you order now before the holidays, right? These simple statements seem small, but they're incredibly effective at building that credibility, driving these campaigns, and then feature them throughout your website, right? Even in email campaigns, like Terrand said, and then across social media. Make a highlight bubble on your Instagram that says, shipping policies, logistics, right? Let customers know across different platforms what you're going to do. And then share who is shipping your packages, right? An example here would be to show FedEx is my trusted carrier. We're hand packing your orders every day. So that's the first thing. Second thing we want to focus on is showcasing behind the scenes activities about building out your brand story. Social media is a really powerful tool for building trust with your customers. Share photos, share videos, not only of your team, but of you guys packing the orders, right? If I was a customer and I saw a big box of Hello Adorn packages going out, I would want to buy from them. I want to be a part of that community. So Hello Adorn does a great job of this on their social media pages, in their reviews. They show customers unboxing, they show that part, right? Show your day-to-day operations. It really reinforces your business is active, responsive, and customer focused, right? That's number 2. Number 3 here would be to leverage social proof. Taran talked a little about this, but I really want to talk about press mentions or features there too, even small ones. Include them on your site. These authentic voices and third-party recognition really instantly builds credibility, and it helps your product page with backlinking for search engine optimization purposes. Number 4, we really want to offer flexible delivery. So when we offer this flexible delivery option, we can provide things like signature required delivery, overnight shipping, or even using something like FedEx Delivery Manager tools, including picture-proof delivery, right? This gives customers an added sense of security and professionalism. They'll know when it's coming, how it's coming, and they are alerted along the process. Fifth thing to focus in on here is consider promoting bulk ordering or B2B ordering. So if you support large or reoccurring orders, make it clear that bulk purchasing is available to your customers. Take it a step further by adding a dedicated B2B portal to your site, right? They can log in, they can view exclusive pricing, catalogs, they can reorder quickly from past purchases. That is huge, right? If I ordered from you, a month ago, maybe I want to order the same thing, right? So this not only saves your customers time, but also really helps your team forecast inventory and really managing that recurring demand going forward. So overall, this question is an awesome one. I could talk about it for a long time, but we really want to combine clear messaging, social proof, delivery transparency to build trust and attract those higher value buyers to your website.
Yes, I love that. And I love that you mentioned the idea of like, if you are going to sell bulk, like have that
Yep.
somewhere on your page because you genuinely never know who is looking at your stuff. There are so many like shops that are looking to bring in smaller businesses and collaborate, and you might miss it if you don't have it, if you're open.
Exactly. It's even great to add that on your FAQ, right? On your product page. Do you offer wholesale? Yes, we do. We love to, support those, or we love to offer bulk ordering, things like that. So whatever customers are asking, you might think as, put that on your product page. Let them know.
Yes, I love that. Wonderful. Okay, Terrand, my next question's for you. So, how does storytelling through images, descriptions, and brand voice influence buying decisions on those product pages?
I love this question, and it's another one I could talk about for a while. And it's mainly because, 37 Oaks, as we mentioned, we support businesses and we do a lot of education around online and offline sales. So it's a different customer experience. And I think just piggybacking off of what I mentioned earlier, this storytelling element is so important because people aren't buying products, they're buying solutions, right? They're buying experiences. So when we are having like, let's say a candle, people aren't necessarily buying the candle. They're buying the fact that the candle is going to help them relax, or it's going to help their home smell better for their holiday hosting party, right? So when it comes to the product listing specifically and where storytelling comes into place is we do a lot of like e-commerce site audits, similar to what we're doing here, like talking about what you could do to improve your listing. And oftentimes we see the just the benefits or the details or the description of the product. So it's a 12-ounce candle, it's a, this scent and this is things like that. But it's like help the customer really envision where are they when they're smelling this candle, or if you have food, especially like what does it taste like? What does it help you remember? Or what are you reminiscent about? Because you want the customer to be in that experience and not just think about the transaction of that product. It
Mm.
also helps to reduce returns. So I know we're talking about like shipping, but then you have returns here. So when you're able to paint this picture of what the customer is going to get through this story, that helps them to understand what they're going to receive and therefore reduce those returns. And returns could be really expensive for a business depending on how you structure it. So at the end of the day, it's not just about the features and the benefits or the size or the color of the product, which we do want to include, but we want to paint this picture because that's going to help them convert, because that's where that buy button is on that product page. So get into their heads, get into their spirits, just kind of help them understand what they're going to feel, because that could be the difference between saying no to a product or yes.
Yes. Oh, I love that. The just like building out that entire experience for the customer and doing it through like those kind of concise, you kind of talked about the high quality photos and thinking about, okay, where do I really need to be when I do this? Um, okay, so my next question is for Alexis. What value adds can small businesses highlight, like bundle deals, free shipping thresholds, or even convenience factors to drive that conversion?
Love it. There's so many things you can add. One of the most effective ways to drive conversions is to add them on your product page, but also throughout the shopping experience, right? These not only touch and increase sales, but also build long-term customer loyalty. So like Tran just mentioned, the return policy, have that active and aware of that on the customer page before they buy, right? Before they check out, we know what that policy is. Let's break down a couple of areas here and take a look at Fable and Maine. They are doing amazing things to highlight the value they bring. First thing we notice here is the use of bundling and cross-selling. Encourage shoppers to explore more of your catalog by integrating features like frequently bought together. These sections to make complementary products effortless, right? It looks how it would look in a brick and mortar store if I was shopping in person. Build a bundle or start a box. These options let customers customize sets. And then as you can see here, they have tiered discounts, right? So buy more, save more. As you can see, it says subscribe and save, 15% off. And you're also able to reap the benefits now of a long long-lasting customer relationship. And then support these efforts with smart tools, right? Use something like Rebuy or Klaviyo. Both of these are great resources for personalized cross-selling and dynamic bundling. These small enhancements can help customers discover more and spend more in one visit. Second thing we want to look at on Fable and Main's product page is add that welcome offer for new customers. Make those first impressions count. Offer 10% off on your first order in exchange for that email or text sign up, and now they're part of our community, right? Create excitement. You could use a spin to win discount pop up or even a countdown clock to let customers know there's a sense of urgency. You better get our product. These incentives grow your email list and help convert first time visitors into paying customers. Third thing here is this flexible and transparent shipping options. Convenience builds confidence, right? So offer multiple delivery options such as standard in-store pickup, same-day delivery. If you're a FedEx customer, you have flexibility to offer all of these options. We always recommend at least having 3 options in that page. Include order notes to remind customers, hey, my order is hand packed. We, are shipping it next day, same day, things like that. Update customers along the way. Your order is being packed. It's now on the way to you. It was delivered, right? We want to let customers know along that journey. And if you have physical location, a brick and mortar, right, we want to replicate the in-store experience online. Make shopping and gifting just as engaging. And as we talk about gifting here, this is our next thing to look at. As we approach holiday season, people get really stressed. I hear a lot about, hey, we're going into this crazy mode. We don't have any time to make changes. Make gifting effortless, right? Help customers give with ease, especially around the holiday season. Add that gifting section at checkout for gift wrap and personal messages, but also on your product page, offer free curated bundles or seasonal gift ideas, right? You can even include on your product page a send as a gift button to streamline the process. And you can tell them no when it will get there, right? So order now and it'll arrive before the holidays, right? So you'll know that those gifting ideas are there for you. Fifth and last thing to cover here that I love Fable and Main is doing is offering these subscription programs. Loyalty is so important. We want to let customers earn points for purchases, reviews, referrals, and then they can redeem them later on so they're still a part of our brand story. And you can use things like Klaviyo, MailChimp to reach out back to them and to have those automated abandoned cart emails. If they forgot about your product, push them back to the website, right? So the 3 big things here is bundling, cross-selling, clear, flexible shipping options, and then loyalty and subscription perks. These enhancements definitely will help you create that really smooth, personalized shopping journey.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love that page too, especially I don't know if it's fallen victim or whatnot, but I have definitely added more. I'm like, you know what? I do want a box.
Yes,
I want
exactly.
the whole package. So it just makes it so easy, like you were saying, Alexis, as a customer to envision, like, I want the product line, or you just see how everything fits together and you have confidence in like the shipping and everything, like you said.
Totally.
Love that. Okay, Tarand, my next question is for you. As the holiday season approaches, what is one practical thing businesses can do to right now to get their product listings holiday ready?
I'll try to focus on one. I'll do my best.
You can do two. You know what? Let's give them a couple. We're good.
Okay, well, I'll try to make it brief. So there's one part that is related to the listing, but I'd say it's kind of e-commerce as well, is that oftentimes when we're looking at our business, we're converting like on the product page, right? But sometimes when we're trying to build sales and they're not growing, sometimes it's not a conversion issue, it's a traffic issue. So in order to get people to that listing, we really have to focus on traffic, because when you look at the world of e-commerce, the average conversion rate is about 3%. It's not really a lot, right? I mean, on certain platforms, on marketplaces, it's higher, but that means if you have 100 people come to your site, about 3 of them are ready to purchase. So we have to get a lot of hundreds to our site. So whether you have market or you're in like a, say, a pop-up or like an event or a farmer's market, or you have your email list, like really, really like cultivate that to drive the traffic to your site so they can see the wonderful things that you've done on your product page that we've talked about today. So that's probably the number one thing. But number two, kind of going back to the product descriptions, if there's one kind of small detail that I think would be helpful, is we've talked a lot about what we call like the micro factors that impact our business. So we talked about like SEO and, like hooks for our product descriptions, but we also got to connect that to the macroeconomics or what's going on in the environment, right? So kind of really understand what your customer is feeling, what they're going through, what they're attracted to, how much money do they have to spend this holiday season, all of those things, and really adjust those product listings to kind of talk to that. So it's not a one size fits all every year when it comes to those product descriptions. Of course, you're going to have the features and benefits of it, but kind of infuse a little bit of maybe value talk this year, right? Because it tends to be a little bit more of a cautious holiday season for customers. So maybe tap into that a little bit. So that would be kind of like the practical things I would mention for this season.
Yes, I love the framing of that value talk. Like, how are you going to speak to your products and when people are maybe scaling back a little bit this season? So, before we get into my last question, which will be for Alexis and Terrand, I just want to remind everyone in the chat that we are going to be going into our live Q&A shortly. So if you have a question, we've been collecting them from the chat. Brittany and Amber have been in the chat as well, but we might still answer them live. And then please drop any questions you have. So, okay, Alexis, I want to start with you. What is one action business owners should take this week to optimize their product listings?
This is awesome. Yeah, if you take away one thing from today's call, please clarify your value proposition, right? We want to know who you are, what's your story, what are the things that makes your brand different, and display that on your product page, right? Make sure it's clear, concise, and visible from the home page to the product page all the way to checkout. Customers should immediately understand what makes you different, right? What is your brand story? And use iconography to communicate your competitive analysis within the first 7 seconds of a visitor landing on your page. Visual cues make all the difference and make your message absorb faster to them, right? And more memorable. So once that's in place, then let's create a priority checklist to go over things we talked about today, right? Adding in those cross-selling features, optimizing your product photography. This is really important here. Include detailed benefit-driven descriptions, right? Give those action words to us, and then also add in those keywords there. Build in that social proof. We want reviews, we want testimonials. User-generated content is huge. It's a big trend right now. And then incorporating storytelling to connect emotionally with those customers there. Great products really explain why the product matters, who it's for, how it solves that specific need or problem. And that's what really turns a good listing into a conversion powerhouse. So last thing I'll say today is remember, product pages aren't just about the what, they're about the why. So really focusing on that.
Yes, super helpful. Thank you so much, Alexis. And Tarand, I have the same question for you. What is one action business owners should take this week to optimize their product listings?
Well, I would say the first thing is to just breathe. We're in the holiday season and things ramp up. I mean, for many business owners, it's been stated that you can make between like 33% or up to like 45% of your annual sales in 2 months. That's
Wow.
not a little bit as well. So many of us are making the products, we're shipping the products, we're doing the e-commerce sites, we're setting the pricing, the promotions, we're planning for Black Friday. There's a lot. So the first thing I would say is just breathe. We'll make it through. We got this. The second thing is, I would say, and Alexis made a lot of good points with tools and resources. Everything doesn't have to be done manually, right? Like even when it comes to assessing or evaluating if you have a strong product listing or if your homepage is optimized, utilize some of the tools that she mentioned. Don't try to put all of this on you, especially during this time of year. You can use some of the generative AI tools out there, like the Chat GTPs or the Geminis, to like assess or brainstorm or check against what are industry benchmarks for good keywords and things like that. So try to utilize those tools to help us work smarter and not harder, so we're not kind of going crazy during this holiday season. So that would be probably my biggest piece of advice when it comes to optimizing your product listing or just approaching this holiday season.
Love
Yes.
that. Brittany, if you'll flash up a couple of the resources, we have a slide on that. It is really overwhelming sometimes when you're looking at resources online, what's free, what's paid. Take a look at the screen here. It is all of the resources I mentioned today. There are so many to look at, and they're all great. We'll share this with everyone too. But as you build out your website and build out your product page, adding in some of these resources to your site can really help you optimize that listing there.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit so that folks can kind of grab. I love this stat at the top that 8 trillion by 2028. I'm not even,
Crazy.
it's hard to even conceptualize that kind of money,
That's a
truly.
lot.
Yes. So leaving that up so folks can see the different types. So there's the reviews that Alexis mentioned, the heat mapping tools, cross-selling, your search engine optimization or SEO tools, and imagery. Again, like Alexis mentioned, we'll make sure that you guys have access to all of these resources. So even though I'm going to stop sharing, don't worry, it's not gone forever. It will come back in your
I'm taking
email.
notes too. I'm over
Yeah.
here writing this down like, yeah,
Yes.
what is that one?
Yes.
And just to
Yes.
a few things. I know that
Please.
the link was in the chat, but as we were talking, there's two resources that you'll see. We have a lot of them, but two I just want to call out for business owners. I had mentioned about the traffic side of it and conversion. We have an e-commerce conversion calculator that'll help you put into perspective on how much traffic should I drive to my site if I'm trying to reach a certain amount of sales goals for a certain month. So that'll kind of help with the marketing efforts so that you kind of know what you're going towards. And also we have an e-commerce site audit. It's kind of like a checklist too. So some of the things that we talked about here, and it's pretty robust. It's like 12 pages long. But at the end of the day, you don't have to do it all, but at least it gives you something to kind of check the list and check the box off of to say, do I have this or do I not have that? So it's something to consider as you're going into this holiday season. So those are all for free on our site. The link is in the chat.
Yes, yes, we just dropped. It's the 37 Oaks link, so you guys can take a look in there. Okay, I'm seeing some good questions coming in, so let's jump into it. This is going to be extremely casual, so I'll kick it to Tarand or Alexis, but obviously you both have so much expertise. Feel free to jump in. So Tarand, I want to kick this first one to you. Do you have any tips for small business owners that do not have professional photographers to capture their images? I feel like this is really common. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's a perfect, wonderful question because you don't necessarily need a photographer. I mean, there may be a point in your business where you want the expertise that a professional photographer could bring to it, but you don't necessarily need it to get started. Some of the key tips are number one, just have a plain white background. Like if you are taking a picture of something in your home, please don't have your toothpaste and toothbrush in the background. Let's just have a plain white background so it's clean so people can focus on the product and see like the value that your product is bringing, making sure it's just really clear. And then also, if you do have like some video, short video that you can take, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want to give customers that sense of what they're going to get. But it definitely doesn't have to be professional. Just make sure it's representing your brand. And one last thing, if you happen to have a product where size is important for the customer to understand, you can always take a picture with it next to something that they know, whether it's a marker or iPhone or something, just to give them a sense of what they're going to get. But you can probably do that on your own, especially if you have pretty good lighting and a nice
Yeah.
background.
Something I'll add on that is a lot of these big brands I work with, you'd be shocked. They don't use professional photographers. They use an iPhone or an Android camera, right? A great resource and tool there is to use Canva. The background remover feature is our best friend. We love to remove the background. So it would just be the photo and then have, right, the product there. So if you're selling a pair of shoes, you can remove the background and that would make it look a little bit more modern or make it look like these other companies do, right? And I love what Tran said. User generated content is huge. So if you ask your customers for photos wearing our products or using our products in day-to-day life, those sometimes are even better to communicate than a professional photographer.
Yes, that's an excellent point. And it builds that community. I mean, I imagine your favorite band is like, can you send me a photo? I would be like, yeah,
Yeah.
I can.
Good.
That is so wonderful. And I just want to call out something as we're going through these questions in the chat. I do see some questions that are specific to maybe your specific business or your specific product, and that makes so much sense. And we want to give you the best answer possible. So we're going to go ahead and drop our one-on-one free advising link. That way, if you're like, hey, I need someone to look at my business, I have a very specific question. We are not forgetting about you and we're not ignoring you, but your best course of action is going to be to get into one of those one-on-one business coaching sessions so someone can look at that with you. Okay, my next question, Alexis, I'm going to kick this to you because you
Mhm.
mentioned, I believe when you're talking about photos, maybe having the sizing charts and things like that. So this person, they have a brand that has like natural creams and soaps. So do you have a recommendation for a brand like that to help customers envision why they want to buy since they really can't smell or touch the product? What are your
Love
thoughts?
it. Yeah, that's a great question. Utilize on Fable and Main's, actually, if you scroll down on their product page, it's great. You can share what Terrence said, those five senses, right? Give customer reviews of what it smells like, what it feels like, how when you use it, right? Another thing you can do is add in those video content and add someone from the brand talking about what it feels like, what it smells like. Another thing you can do is offer a free sample, right? So, do you want to test this? Do you want to try this out? You can offer that. A great thing to do on social media is to pop up and ask customers to send in the content, send in your ideas, comment what you think your favorite scent is. You can tell customers, right, this is our best selling scent, this is our favorite fan favorite, or this is our most popular. That way, customers normally see that badge of authority on your product page and they say, hey, this is the most well liked product. I'm just going to get this scent or this, one, rather than having them try it.
Yes, I love that. So many good suggestions in there. Tarand, my next question is for you because you mentioned earlier of looking at, industry benchmarks. Do you have any suggestions of where a small business might look for those for their business?
Yes, I'm gonna mention our all of our next employee or our first employee with this, which is the Chat GTP and the Geminis, right? Like back in the day, I'll say like maybe a decade ago, you had to subscribe to like industry publications and things like that. But there's a lot of great information when it comes to this generative AI and these platforms. So oftentimes it's about what exactly are you looking for and asking them. I say that's the best place to look. I mean, you can look in other places and subscribe to different, publications and databases, but there's a lot of great information on those. So I always say start there. And then, of course, if there's people that you know that's in those certain areas or those categories, you can talk with them, but start with our buddies when it comes to Gemini and Chat GTP.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. And then a follow-up question, since you just talked about generative AI,
Okay.
what are your thoughts on using AI tools like ChatGPT to help with product listings and titles? You recommend that? What are your thoughts?
100%. Absolutely. I think the key is, especially if you're new to those platforms, it does have to learn your tone, right? So if you just go in there, you're opening up an account and you're like, help me write a product description for, my natural shampoo. It doesn't know your tone. It doesn't know your voice. It doesn't know your brand. So you do kind of have to train it to make sure it doesn't sound like it just came from a chat GTP. You want to make it sound like it came from you. So you do have to train it quite a bit. But the good thing is when you are using these tools, you can say, this is a aspirational brand that I would like it to mimic or not copy, but mimic, or we have a similar customer as this brand and use best practices or industry insights to create it. So it's not just about the text, but use that text to help to grow your business, not just explain the product. So you can really infuse a lot into that product description by utilizing those type of tools.
Yes, I love that. Okay, this next question, I'm interested in both of your thoughts on this because you both mentioned social media, user-generated content, and more we're seeing people do lives like for selling. So, Alexis,
Yes.
I want to start with you and then Taran. What are your thoughts on doing live sales? Do you have a preferred platform and do you think it's worth the time?
Yeah, this is a great question. One thing I will say about these live sales is make sure practice, 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 right? You don't ever want your customers to join a live and say that we can't fulfill your order or we can't get it to you, or we're sold out, right? So I have a lot of customers that practice these lives beforehand. They are great to do. A lot of my customers have a cadence, right? So the first Monday of every month, we're going to go live with new arrivals. And that way you can see them before they drop on the website. You can see them before they drop in stores, right? So you're getting that customized experience experience. So give them a reason to join the live, right? It's not like we're just going live every day waiting for some customers to join. I'm going to give them a reason to come, right? I'm going to invite Brittany in because I'm giving her something special, an exclusive look. I have some customers, especially around the holiday season, they'll do, here's our holiday sneak peek, right? Let's go live for 30 minutes. We're going to show you, here's a sneak peek of our brand. And then if you're going to use platforms to do that, make sure that it's connected to, your order management system and everything like that, so you can fulfill the order right then and there.
Mhm.
Excellent points. Love that. Terrand, what are your thoughts?
Yes. If you can do live anything, do it, right? 'Cause when you see even abroad, and it's taking off abroad and it's starting to take off a lot more here. Each year when it comes to live shopping, it's been growing and growing and growing for a lot of reasons that we talked about earlier of you're able to connect a little bit better with those five senses and engage with the customer and show them the product and create the experience. So I love what Alexis said in terms of like, driving the customer to it, being intentional about having these events and giving them a reason to join it. So even if you're just getting started, because a lot of business owners we work with, they're not too keen on going live or showing their face on social. And I agree, I was the same way, and I'm still not really there, but I'm getting there. But the point is, even if you're not comfortable with doing a full like live event, you can start off small, maybe a little Instagram live-ish type of thing, or find whatever that first step is for you, at least to get comfortable with it, because this is going to help increase sales. There's not a doubt about it. You just got to find your way into it and feel comfortable with it. But start small, but definitely have a plan to ramp up.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so we are our marching orders on, we're all going to be on live, you know? Okay, and this is a great question that I want to ask you both. Alexis, I'll start with you and then Taran. Can you touch on the importance of authenticity in this like whole conversation of product listings, descriptions? Like, what is the importance of being authentic? Alexis.
Yeah, so important, especially when we're talking about things like ChatGPT and utilizing AI. Always use AI as an intern. I always say that, right? You know best, and human mind is obviously going to be better. So we want to make sure that we're giving that authentic story, real people, real products, right? Say that on your website. Let us know. A couple of ways I mentioned today to do that is show the heart behind your brand, show employees packing the products, show reviews, but also show the behind the scenes of your brand. What's your team's favorite lunch order, right? What do you guys like to do outside of work? When we're on social media, when we're sharing our product listing, entertain our customers a little bit, show them a peek behind that curtain and show why, how, right? We want to be authentic with them so they can gain and kind of latch onto our brand, not just buy from us once and then forget about us. We want them to be a part of our brand family.
Yes, I love that. And then Taran, what are your thoughts on authenticity?
Well, because we work so much with small businesses and I have a corporate retail background, I look at both spaces, right? So when it comes to authenticity, I really believe that this is a part of our unique value as smaller businesses. So there's a lot of small businesses out there. There's a lot of mass market brands, but what makes our business unique tends to have something to do with our authenticity, our story. And we may not think it's a big deal, but lean into it, because we talked a lot about breaking out from the clutter of the holiday season, and there's 600 million products on Amazon. Like we could go down the list of all of this competition out there. But typically, what helps us break through the clutter and get that customer's attention and help them understand the number one reason why they should buy from us tends to be something that's about us or about our story or why we ended up starting this business. And that's that authentic nature. So don't feel like it has to be refined or perfect. Customers that are shopping small are looking for authentic. They're not looking for the mass market brands that are in the larger retailers. They may have some categories with that, but if they're looking for small businesses, they want something unique. So lean into that story. Don't feel like it has to be refined. Show them the oopsies and the mistakes that you did, the behind the scenes, like Alexis was talking about. Like they want to see that, because that's what makes you unique and different, and probably why they're shopping from you.
Oh,
Mhm.
I
I
love that.
love that. And every website needs an About Us page, right? Tell your story on a page. Cacao and Cardamom, Annie Rapani, she does a great job of this, telling her story, how it came about. So utilize the examples I showed today. All three of the examples have great stories, how they started small and then they, ramped it up.
Love all of those things. I feel like it's such a great like note to end this conversation on, that there are all these tools that you can use and authenticity is just one of those. I really want to thank Terrand Smith and Alexis Margaritis for joining us and for sharing so much of their expertise and answering so many questions. We have dropped where you can stay connected with Terrand and Alexis via LinkedIn. I also want to thank our partners at FedEx for continuing to contribute to the education for e-commerce businesses and to supporting them in their growth during so many stages of their business. And I want to thank all of the business owners who joined us today in the chat. Time is your most valuable resource, and we really hope that you were able to gather something today that helps you prepare better your product listings and your business for the end of this year and hopefully a very strong next year. So thank you all to everyone. Again, thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Terrand. And thank you to Amber and Brittany in the chat for answering all of those questions while we were all chatting up here. So again, thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.